Hey guys, it's Elisa, and today I have my June wrap up. So I'm gonna go ahead and tell you what I read. There are some deviations to what I said I was gonna go ahead and read for the month of June, and yeah, so let's get right to it. The first book I went ahead and read was Raziel by Christina Douglas. Yes, Raziel by Christina Douglas. This is the first book in the Fallen series. This series follows fallen angels, and I like the concept of it. It's like totally different from most angel books that I've read. This one, the fallen angels were in this series, the fallen angels are actually kind of like the good guys, or not kind of like they are the good guys. They are there to go ahead and also protect mankind in a way, but most of it just revolves around like the angels basically would, after the Almighty gave humans free will, he kind of just took a step back and just let whatever happened happen. But he did leave Uriel, I think I'm saying that right, Uriel, in charge of the heavens above. Basically, with him, he's let the power get to his head. So he's very tyrant, and the things that you would expect, the things that happen with him, like the way that he is, you would expect that. That's usually something that you don't expect in heaven. It's something that you usually expect in hell. So, yes. Raziel, what they do, him and his brethren, they are kind of like reapers. Like Uriel tells them to go ahead and take a soul and, take them to their next life or whatever. So in this one, Raziel is supposed to go ahead and he's supposed to take Allie, and then he doesn't, and it kind of just evolves from there when he finds out like at the last minute that she was going to be sent to hell when she's not a bad person. Like all she does is she's working day by day, but at night she's a writer. She writes like faith fiction, I guess, in a way, suspense. She has a lot of religion, and there's the kind of I don't know, like maybe like Dan Brown kind of books, something like that. So it just goes from there, and there's action, there's a little bit of romance, and there is a happy ever after. So this and Raziel, it went ahead and you got to meet a lot of other characters. Like there's Azazel and there's Michael, and it goes from there, right? So with this one, I did go ahead and give it 4 out of 5 stars. The next book that I read was the second book in the series, which is Demon. This one follows Azazel, and I was very interested in this book just because Azazel, something very tragic happens at the end of book 1 to Azazel. So he originally is the leader of the fallen group, and something really bad happens, so he kind of steps down and to kind of go, mourn and stuff like that. There's this prophecy about Azazel that he is to be wed to the Queen of Demons, which is Lilith, and him kind of fighting that, and I enjoyed it. You got to see more of Uriel, like the things that like his kind of realm and stuff like that. This one also 4 out of 5 stars. Like you don't want to give too much away since it is the second book and it kind of goes from there. So yes, after that, I wanted to go ahead and continue reading the series. I was interested of the direction that it was going. I like when they brought in Michael, but they brought him in towards the end where he was more present at the end of book 2 and stuff like that. Him and Azazel are a little close, or they're all kind of close. It just kind of, it's like Raziel and Azazel are like really close, and then Azazel and Michael are really close. So yeah, and I like that he was the only one that had tattoos. So, Warrior is the name of the third book. And with Warrior, there's a seer in their society who has a vision that Michael's to go ahead and marry the Roman god of war. And that she is supposed to go ahead and help them with their battle. Him being a warrior, the flaming sword and all of that, you know, mythology about Michael. He agrees. At first he's kind of against it, and then he finally accepts, like he's gonna do it as a soldier. Like he's like, she's like, she'll be my wife in name, but not in any other aspect. Like they're not gonna live, they're not gonna live in the same like room, apartment. I guess share the same apartment because it's like little suites apartments that they kind of live in. So they're like all a name. Her name is Victoria Bologna or something like that. I don't know if I'm pronouncing her last name right, but her nickname is Tori, and she has grown up not knowing what she was, like knowing that she is the god of war or anything like that. And so she accepts, like she's kind of against it, but she's looking at it like the the lesser of two evils, because her mother is very protective and very jealous of her at the same time. And so she decides to go ahead and go with Michael because she's like, well, I can go and then I can just leave him or whatever. But as time goes on, they get into some sticky situations. She gets kidnapped, so he has to go and save her, and they find through the whole series they're trying to go ahead and find Lucifer because he is like the main reason that he was, thrown out of heaven was because he questioned everything. In this version, he really did, that's all he did wrong, was just to question a lot of things. Like he wasn't trying to overthrow anything, he was just questioning a lot. So that's why for him being the very first one to question is the one that got the severe punishment. So in this one, and Warrior, you kind of know more about Lucifer, like where he's at and everything like that. So this one, 4 to 5 stars. There's like this awesome like battle scene towards the end. Loved it. Loved the action in this one. The next book that I went ahead and read was Rebel, which is book 4. This one follows Cain. Cain is brought in to basically disrupt the whole society because he holds a humongous grudge against the fallen because of something that happens in the past, like something that happens with his wife, like one of his, I guess his first wife, I should say. Really bad happens, and things that kind of progress out of book 3 with Allie and Raziel is one of the reasons why Cain comes back and everything like that. And this book changes the whole society, like the way that they think and the way that they act, and makes them a little bit more fearless because there's some things that they kind of fear. But this book was so good. I am so eager to find out if there's going to be a book 5 or anything like that. So, yeah. All in all 4 books, gave them 4 to 5 stars. They really enjoyable. Love the world, love the action, love the little romances and everything like that. So, yes. After I went ahead and read these 4 books, I went ahead and picked up One Tiny Lie by K. Tucker. And this book was so good. So good. I I loved it. I don't know what to tell you. Like I loved Livy and Ashton. Ashton, what can I say? Livy is Casey's little sister, and Casey is from 10 Tiny Breaths, which is what I read back in April. And I couldn't resist wanting to go ahead and pick up One Tiny Breath. So basically, this follows Livy when she is going to college. She ends up going to Princeton, Harvard, Princeton. So she ends up going to Princeton, wanting to be a doctor and everything like that. It's something that she's always dreamed of doing ever since she was little, like before her parents died, and it's just that's the course that she was always on. So she gets to college, and Casey's like therapist kind of talks to her like every day and stuff, like every Saturday, to kind of, because Casey thinks that there's something wrong with Livy. Not in a bad way, but that she's kind of reserved. She hasn't really experienced a lot of stuff. Like, she's always just been like very good grades, very like everything on the path to getting into Princeton and becoming a doctor. Like nothing else in between. So when the therapist, like, he gives her things to do. Like he'll tell her to go like bungee jumping, And when she gets to college, he tells her to get drunk, basically, and to party in case he's there. So they go to like this frat party. They're there one night and they're drinking and they're taking like jello shots. And out of nowhere, like this guy, like she takes the jello shot, and this guy, this in toga and everything, like muscular, comes up to her and starts like kissing her and takes away her jello shot and everything like that. And she's kind of upset because she keeps in her head, she's like, he stole my first kiss. Like, she had never kissed a boy before. So yeah, she gets super upset, and her sister's kind of like laughing at her and telling her to loosen up. And that's how we go ahead and meet Ashton. And it kind of progresses from there. Yeah, and it's just a lot of like back and forth, like not trying to be together because of reasons. And then there's this like things you kind of find out, you kind of suspect that there's something going on with Ashton, and you don't know what it is. And then at the same time, Libby's going through not difficulties in knowing if she wants to be a doctor because she is interning at the hospital with like kids that are sick. Oh, it's just heart wrenching at certain parts of it. And then there's like these quotes, there's like these lines that, oh my god, there's one night where they go to a bar and she's getting jealous hearing these girls wanting to throw themselves at Ashton and everything like that. And she's trying to be like, it shouldn't matter, but it kind of does. And Ashton takes her to go dance on the dance floor. And it is so cute. They're just dancing and they start talking, and one thing leads to another, and he ends up telling her like, you're my forever girl. And that is when I fell in love with him. Like, that is when I fell in love with him. But I really enjoyed it. I really, really loved it. I like the way it ended. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. I cannot wait for the next book in the series. Next book that I read after that was, of course, Forever Too Far by Abby Glynis. And oh my god, I loved it. That was the last book in the series. It was very short, which is good. It didn't drag out or anything like that, but I loved it. If you guys read it, OMG, I found a video that has the song, and I will link it down below. If you've read it, you know what song I'm talking about. And I literally, like, after I had read that part that brings up the song, I went back to that page and listened to the song and like was like turning the pages, and I was like loved it. I loved it. I like how it was kind of setting things up for Grant's book. It also brought in Wood and his girl, which I'm sorry, I can't remember her name, but I know that that book is like the Twisted Perfection or something like that. I want to read that as well, but I'm gonna hold off. So this picks up with Rush and Blair already being, and this is spoiler alert if you haven't read the other 2 books, but with Blair already being pregnant and Rush trying to get married before the baby comes, and still having to deal with Nan's life, basically like her kind of going to her real father's house and making a mess of that, and Rush's dad asking him to come and like help and stuff. So it kind of evolves from there, and things get hard, things get personal, and then it gets really good, and loved it again. 5 stars. And then after that, I was going to go ahead and read The Girl of Fire and Thorn by Ray Carson. I was going to read those 2 books, but then I realized that book 3 comes out in August, so I was like, I'll hold off. Plus, Gabby, our June winner, was like telling me to read the Lex series, like read it, read it, read it. So I was like, you know what, I might as well read it. I own the first 3 books on ebook, so I read them. Well, actually, yeah. Well, now I own the novella too. But anyways, so I ended up reading Obsidian, Shadows, which is the novella, Onyx, and Opal. And oh my god, oh my god, I cannot believe I waited so long to read it. And Gabby wants me to go ahead and like do a video for Opal just because of everything that happens there, and I understand why. If you guys have not read the Lex series, I am gonna make that video like I told her that I would, but just to kind of give you a little bit right now, this story follows Katie and Damon. Katie is a human and Damon is a alien, and it just kind of revolves from there. Loved him, loved Damon's sarcasm and being a hard ass, but yet wanting to protect his sister and everything like that, and just this fierce protectiveness that he has towards the people that he loves. I love that. So I read Obsidian, which is the first book, like in 2 days, a day and a half, something like that. Shadows was like a day. And then I had told Gabby that I was gonna read, that I was already reading Onyx, and she's like, you have to read Opal, and then you have to tell me what you think about it, and stuff like that. And so I literally did not sleep after I finished Shadows. Like, I read Onyx, like I finished it in a day, less than a day or something like that, and then I went into Opal. And I was like, oh my god, oh my god, trying to figure out what was gonna happen, and then it happened, and oh my god. And yeah, so I'll get more into that. Like, I am going to be doing that video, and once I have it, like, I'll link it here for you guys so that I can go ahead and give you more information. Like, I'm gonna do a review on the whole series. So, or the first 3 books that I've already read. But I am super impatient. If I would have known that the next book comes out in August, I think I would have waited. But I don't regret it. Like, I really, really enjoyed this series a lot. I loved it. I hope you liked my June wrap up. Yeah, you guys have a great day. If you read any of the books that I mentioned or wanting to know more information about them, let me know. Leave it in the comments down below. If you've read, for example, the Lux series, oh my god, tell me how much you loved it. But yeah, you guys have a great day. Talk to you soon. Bye!